अपने कर्तव्यों का सजापूर्वक और शुद्ध अंतकरण से निर्वहन करूंगा तथा मैं भय या पक्षपात, अनुराग या देश के बिना सभी प्रकार के लोगों के प्रति संविधान और विधि के अनुसार कार्य करूंगा, न्याय करूंगा।
दोबारा बोले सर।
मैं अशोक गहलोत ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि जो विषय राजस्थान राज्य के मुख्यमंत्री के रूप में मेरे विचार के लिए लाया जाएगा तथा मुझे ज्ञात होगा उसे किसी व्यक्ति या व्यक्तियों को सबके सिवाय जबकि ऐसे मंत्री के रूप में अपने कर्तव्यों के सम्यक निर्वहन के लिए ऐसा करना अपेक्षित हो मैं प्रत्यक्ष अथवा अप्रत्यक्ष रूप से संशोधित से प्रकट नहीं करूंगा।
अब सिग्नेचर होगा, अभी सिग्नेचर होगा तभी अभी बधाई दो।
आपको बहुत बधाई है, बहुत बधाई।
आपण बघितलं राजस्थानचे मुख्यमंत्री म्हणून गेहलोत यांनी शपथ घेतली आहे।
Attempt to malign has today been thrown out by the court, saying they've looked into the price also. And finally on the offset partner. The government to government agreement has nothing to do with who the partner is going to be. That goes by a separate rule book which is on offset partners. The commercial decision of anybody who supplies equipments to India will be who they want to work together with for that offset investment.
अनुराग या द्वेष के बिना सभी प्रकार के लोगों के प्रति संविधान और विधि के अनुसार न्याय करूंगा। मैं सचिन पायलट ईश्वर की शपथ लेता हूं कि जो विषय राजस्थान राज्य के मंत्री के रूप में मेरे विचार के लिए लाया जाएगा अथवा मुझे ज्ञात होगा उसे किसी व्यक्ति या व्यक्तियों को सबके सिवाय जबकि ऐसे मंत्री के रूप में अपने कर्तव्यों के सामूहिक निर्वहन के लिए ऐसा करना अपेक्षित होगा मैं प्रत्यक्ष अथवा अप्रत्यक्ष रूप से संसूचित या प्रकट नहीं करूंगा।
बहुत बहुत बधाई आपको।
And it has nothing to do with the government, has come out clearly in the court's orders. So, in spite of this now, no, we will not listen to Supreme Court, because what we as the first family of the Congress decide will be more important, and actually that is much more valid. That's in spite of not being constitutionally approved, it will still be the law of the land. I care nothing much for the Supreme Court. Is the approach with which this party, which is the oldest party apparently for this country. So what the Supreme Court says is not important, but what I say is important, and that I will say even more brazenly now. Do what you want. I'll still call the Prime Minister a chore. Amazing, with due respects, audacity. So I suppose the larger issues of what has emerged out of the Supreme Court I've put before you. The idea of a JPC. The other day when I had a joint press that evening when the court's verdict had come, the Congress party seems to grudge even that. Why should you have a celebratory press party? No. If I hadn't come out to speak along with another senior colleague, they would say, Supreme Court has come, but the government is not confident. You come, they have something to say. You don't come, they have something to say. We came very clearly to say we responded to the petition, gave every detail, some of course in sealed envelope because it is a matter, and I'm glad the Supreme Court recognized even that requesting the confidentiality was absolutely important for national security. And therefore, even the other day, like Shri Arun Jaitley, the Honorable Finance Minister, said very clearly, a JPC after a Supreme Court 3-judge bench. For what, pray? What is the history of, say, JPC, particularly for defense? I'm not talking about all JPCs, particularly on defense. Yesterday, I think Shri Jaitley has also written a very clear blog to tell you what it actually could mean. A JPC which will be politically divided, understandable, every JPC is going to be like that, is looking into a matter which is already comprehensively looked into by the Supreme Court. If we want to just look at the earlier history of a JPC on defense related matters, I'm not taking on others, you have the Bofors related JPC which was headed by former minister, then Minister Shankaranand B. Shankaran. It ended up calling the kickback which was given for Bofors deal as a winding up charge. They had an office here, they had to wind up, so we had to give them money. So a kickback was converted to be a winding up charge. That was the outcome of that. Although subsequently, you from the media, I'm not naming any media host, you all know it, the Bofors reportage at that time through the media very clearly said not just one Bin Chadda but Quattrochi was also involved in it. He had no office here, and did he not get entitlement for winding up charge then? What was the money given to him? Not winding up charge, then what was it? So, to ask for a JPC is more for their political grandstanding rather than for genuinely knowing post a Supreme Court's verdict. So, for an opening statement, I would give it at this and leave the house open. Ashishji or Keshavji could guide. I'm willing to answer.
Samir.
Madam, don't you think that after so much of controversy, public has got a right to know? Public has got a right to know what is the price that we have paid for such an aircraft, which is definitely needed. That is my first question. And second question is, we are now procuring only 36 aircraft. At this juncture, the need for the Air Force is of more other 90 aircraft, total 126. What steps are we taking to fulfill this need? These are my two questions.
See, with so much controversy, public should know the price. The CAG is being given. We've already given it to the CAG. And in the parliamentary system, the CAG looks into it. And of course, then the CAG's report goes over to the PAC. The PAC will have a look at it, and then it becomes a public document too. So there is a process through which that happens, and that will happen. It's already commenced. The process is already commenced. And as regards the rest of the aircrafts, please, let us please understand, even under the non-deal of UPA, they were also going to buy only 18 aircrafts to start with. And for the rest, they were making Dassault look for an Indian partner and have the partner together with them produce the rest of the aircrafts. And even that was not, that set of 100-odd aircrafts were not going to be produced within 1 year. All this has a timeline. First year you will do so much, second year you will do so much, and so on. So for that process, we are not buying 18, we are buying 36 ready flyaway condition as opposed to their 18. For the rest of them, we have already opened up the RFI. We are now putting it under the strategic partnership, opening it up through the global tender process. Any number of people can come and ask to produce with an Indian partner. Let them come up, the process will be followed, and therefore, for meeting up the requirement of the rest of the aircrafts, we are on course.
Kamlesh Suza
from India Today. government has filed a corrective application in the Supreme Court. So, what does the government feel? Is it a grammatical mistake or a factual error?
Two things here. I'm glad you asked that question, but I'm not running away from answering it. It is a petition in the court. It is the court which has to respond to it. When the court meets again on the 5th of January, they will take a consideration. All that we have said in that affidavit, which I think is now out in the public, the affidavit itself is out in the public, a lot of people are talking about it. We have very clearly said, we have given the data, we have given our information. We think there is a interpretation problem. We would like you to please look at it and correct it. That's our appeal to the court. We'll wait for the court to take a call. But clearly, we have very clearly in the affidavit, if you go through it, you'll know that we've said what we have said in our documents. And then we have also pointed out where the language has created the misunderstanding. And then we've also said we would like you to correct it like this because this is what it means. So our position, first place, when we have been dealing with this case before the verdict came out, is also mentioned there. And the paragraph 25 where the issue has come up, how it is standing now is also mentioned there. And we've explained as to why we wanted the correction, just to show that what we've said is not opposite to what is actual in reality. So now, more than this, it may not be appropriate for me to say it. The affidavit is lying before the court. On 5th January, after they come, whenever they choose to take this case up, we'll hear from them. I'll wait to hear from the court.
मैम अभिषेक न्यूज़ 18 इंडिया से सर दो सवाल है। पहला पूछना है कि रणदीप सुरजेवाला ने आप सुबह से करीब 12-13 सवालों के पूछे हैं। उन्होंने कहा है कि ये सारे सवालों के जवाब कोर्ट को सरकार ने